Hi, welcome back. This is part 4 of my Canon and D tutorial series for piano beginners. Today, we're going to expand the pattern we've been learning in our left hand. It's been a while since we talked about our left hand, and I know many of you have been eagerly waiting for this part. If you're just joining the series now, I've linked the earlier videos in the description below so you can catch up whenever you're ready. For everyone else, let's jump in. Let's get started by talking about how we can decide what we want to do with our left hand. When we're deciding what to do with our left hand for this piece, I recommend keeping things very simple, something that's not as complicated or intricate as the right hand. You might be thinking that I'm saying this just because this is a beginner series and I don't want to overwhelm you. And in part that's true, but there's also a really good musical reason for this as well. In piano composition, it's standard for one hand to be the star and the other hand to provide a simpler, steadier background. Of course, there are exceptions, but usually one hand is setting a steady foundation and the other hand is doing more ornamental stuff. In our song, the right hand is the ornamental one. It's expanding and growing, and it's the one that pulls our attention, right? Because a lot is happening with the right hand, it needs a steadier, simpler left hand to really let it shine. Otherwise, if our left hand gets too complicated, then our two hands end up competing for our attention. We don't want that. We want to be able to relax into our playing. And if we perform for others, we want them to be able to relax into our music too. That's much easier done when one hand takes the lead and the other provides a simple, supportive backdrop. A simpler left hand makes it clear where our attention should go to our ever-expanding right hand. So today, I'd like to show you two simple left hand variations, and we will hear how they sound when we combine them with some of our right hand patterns. Okay, here we are at the bottom half of my piano. This is middle C for your reference. My first left hand pattern is designed for people with smaller hand spans. In this pattern, for every note in our original pattern, we are going to add what we call a fifth above it. So let's look at how we do that. I'm going to put our left hand pattern on the screen. We haven't seen this in a while. So now let's find a fifth above each of these notes. So to find a fifth, we count our starting note as 1 and count up our letter names until we get to 5. So let's try this. Starting with D, for example, if D is 1, we are going to count up 2, 3, 4, 5 and learn that A is our fifth above D, okay? Awesome, let's keep going. Next, if A is our bass note and A is going to be 1, then we count up 2, 3, 4, 5 and learn that E is our fifth above A. Okay, awesome. Let's keep going. Our next left hand note is B. So let's count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we've landed on an F. But let's remember that in this song, all our Fs are sharp. So that's going to apply here too. So a fifth up from B is an F sharp. Okay? Let's keep going. From F sharp, we are going to count up 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we've landed on C, but this is another sharp note in our piece, right? So that means from F sharp, we'll go up to a C sharp, okay? All right, let's keep going. Next is G. If G is 1, then we'll count up 2, 3, 4, 5 to D. From D, we've already counted this one earlier, so we could just use our answer from before. A fifth up from D is A. We can also copy our answer from the previous G for this one. So a fifth up from G is D. And oh, look at that. We already know the fifth up from A too. A fifth up from A is E. So I hope that makes sense. Please let me know if you have any questions about that. Now we have to decide how we want to play these notes. In my last video, I described how you can play the right hand notes in any order and they'll still sound good. The same thing applies here. You can play these notes however you want to. Maybe you want to play them together. Maybe you want to alternate between them. Maybe you want to add a little bit of rhythm. It's totally up to you. Because this series is for beginners, I am personally going to stick with something simple. But because the song is meant to be flowing and beautiful, I think we should also try to include a little bit of movement if we can. So I'm going to recommend a very simple pattern where we hold the bottom note with our fifth finger for 2 counts, and then play our top note with our first finger for 2 counts. So let's try that through with this new pattern that's on the screen and see how that feels. Okay? 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome, good stuff. I really like that. I think it fills out the sound quite a bit, even though we didn't add very much. And I think this will be a really great foundation pattern for when our right hand is playing something a little bit more complicated. So that's actually what I'd like to try next, bringing this new left hand pattern with one of our right hand patterns from the last video, so we can hear and see what it looks like when we bring them together. So let me reset my camera so we can give this a try, and I will see you when you're ready. Okay, I have pulled back my camera so you can see both hands. Here's middle C for your reference. Let's add our new left hand pattern to the top, middle, bottom, middle pattern that we learned in our last video. So with this new pattern, your right hand is going to play 4 notes, but your left hand is just playing 2 notes. So that means your left hand is going to come in at the same time as your right hand, but your right hand is going to play 2 notes before your second left hand note comes in, like this. Okay? All right, but here's a little trick that might make it easier for you to coordinate your hands. It just so happens with this pattern that the outside fingers are going to play at the same time. So your left hand 5 and your right hand 4. And then your inside fingers, your thumbs or your first fingers, are going to play at the same time. And this pattern continues through the whole sequence. So let me show you these notes and then we can try it playing together slowly with counting, okay? Let's give this a shot. Ready? So outside fingers, inside fingers, good. Next, outside fingers, inside fingers, good. 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 Outside fingers, inside fingers, good stuff, fantastic. Okay, does that make sense? If so, then let's try this all the way through with counting. I will take this nice and slow, but for sure, if you need to practice this on your own before you count with me, absolutely take that time. Do whatever you need to set yourself up for success, okay? Only when you're confident, try playing along with my counting. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good stuff. Wonderful. Fantastic. Please let me know how you did with that. If you would like to learn more about fifths and how they can help you in your piano playing more generally, I will link to a video that I released last year about fifths. I think it could help you become more comfortable in playing across the piano if that's something that you're interested in. But moving on with our song. So that pattern was meant for viewers who have smaller hand spans, and I do hope that you found that helpful. If you have a larger hand span and would like to try something else, maybe you'd like to explore octaves. And that is what I'd like to look at next. Okay, we are back at the bottom of my piano. Here is middle C for your reference. And let's just practice finding and playing octaves with our left hand. So octaves are relatively easy to find because they are just finding the same bass note a little bit higher up on the piano. If you're a beginner to piano, what you may find more difficult than finding an octave is actually reaching that octave, right? So here's where I'm going to encourage you to have some patience with yourself. If you're learning piano as an adult, your hand has probably never been asked to stretch like this before, ever in your life. You can gain flexibility with practice, but please don't ever push yourself to the point where you're feeling pain. It's okay to feel a bit of a stretch, even some fatigue, but if you're feeling pain, that means that you're pushing too far and you need to scale back on what you're trying to do. In that case, perhaps stick to playing fifths for the time being. This actually reminds me of a second thing that I wanted to say, which is to please feel free to accommodate yourself however you need to in order to get the results that you want. The piano is a very flexible instrument. There's lots of options here, and you're allowed to find a way of playing that works best for you. So for example, with this octave sequence, if you really wanted to hear this kind of an octave sound, but your hand span is limited right now, just find another way to do it. You don't need to hold both notes down. You can just move your hand and play one note at a time. And if you're feeling especially ambitious, you could even use your sustain pedal, as I am, to make it sound like you're playing both notes at the same time. This isn't cheating. It's using your instrument's options to their fullest capacity, and also giving yourself the greatest chance of success. So with that in mind, let's practice finding our octaves in the way that makes the most sense to you. We're going to do the same thing as before, holding our bottom note for 2 counts and then our top note for 2 counts. So really, we're just experimenting with finding these notes, but also finding them in the way that is best for you. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Good stuff. All right. So how did that go for you? Did you end up using any of the strategies that we talked about to make this reach easier for you? Please let us all know in the comments. I'm really interested to hear how it's going, and other beginners who are watching this video might be supported by your experience and ideas. So please feel free to share. Next, of course, I would like to incorporate this with the right hand. So let me reposition the camera and we can talk about that. Okay, so I am back with a fuller picture of my piano. Here's middle C for your reference. And now let's talk about how to play your octave left hand with one of our right hand patterns. Now, because we already used our top, middle, bottom, middle pattern today, and that sounded really good, why don't we move on and try our other right hand pattern, top, bottom, middle, bottom, with this octave left hand pattern. So just like in our previous pattern, your right hand is going to play 2 notes for every 1 note that the left hand plays. And just like in our previous pattern, your left hand and right hand are going to start together so that your outside fingers play at the same time. But this time, your left hand thumb is going to play whenever your right hand middle note comes in. So if you've been following my finger recommendations, it means your left hand thumb or first finger is going to come in whenever your right hand second finger plays. Okay, so again, let's look at each group together, and then after that, we'll try again playing through with counting. Okay, so let's take a look at this first set. Outside fingers, middle note. Ooh, very pretty. Good. Let's keep going. Outside fingers, middle note. Good. Next. Beautiful. Next. Good. Oh, this is so lovely. Good. Good. Oh, that was so lovely. That was so lovely. Okay, so practice that through a few times if you need to. If you're ready, let's try this through with counting nice and slow. Ready? Hands in position. We're going to take this nice and slow. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic! Very well done. Very well done. Okay, well, as usual, the last thing that I would like to do today is practice going through everything that we have learned in our Canon D series so far. So I'm going to put all the patterns that we've learned together on the screen, and let's just try going through these together. So I'm going to suggest that for the first 4 rounds, we just keep our left hand simple, to playing it 1 note at a time, the way that we initially learned it. When we get into the top, middle, bottom, middle pattern in the right hand, we could try switching the left hand to the 5th pattern that we talked about. And then for the last round, when we play top, bottom, middle, bottom, we can try with the octave left hand. Okay, so we're really incorporating everything that we've learned so far. Again, take time to practice this if you need to, but if you feel ready, then let's get started. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic! Very well done. Very well done. Excellent work. Really, really well done today. Please take some time to practice these new left-hand patterns. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them quickly. Now that we have several options for patterns in both our right and left hand, believe it or not, but you have everything you need to play a full version of Canon in D from start to finish. But how do we actually finish this song? That's the topic I'd like to cover in my next video. In part 5, we're going to talk about how we can shape our Canon in D so that it has a clear beginning, middle, and end. So please keep practicing your left-hand patterns so you can play along with me in that video. For those of you who'd like a look ahead, part 5 will be my final video in the core beginner series, which means that we'll be wrapping up the foundational version of Canon in D that we've built together. But it's not the last video I'll be sharing with you on this piece. I've also got a bonus video coming for those of you who have asked me to teach the famous soaring melody that Canon in D is famous for. It's a bit more advanced, which is why I'm not including it in the core beginner series. But if you're up for a challenge or just curious about it, I think you'll enjoy it. Thank you again for joining me today. Best of luck with your playing and have fun at your piano this week. Bye.